The chef battle begins. Everyone is focusing on making their dish, and the atmosphere couldn't be more tense. Megumi has experience from going all over the world. She will know how to process the ingredients to be the most perfect, but that guy is not just anyone. He is an outsider but uses the knives of Duyoang skillfully. This skill is not human anymore, a terrifying power that the author has buffed too much. What about Irina? Looking at that serious face is enough to understand that there is no friendship here anymore. In a fair battle, there is no favoritism, but possessing God's tongue is already better than others. Her dish has been completed. Looking like this, I don't know how to describe it. Cold, freezing the bird, or what, but in short, it's delicious, and the viewers are conquered. Aldini also admits that it's delicious, but the new year hasn't come yet. He's confident that his dish will melt all that ice. It's also delicious, but it's not enough. Aldini's flame had just flared up when it was extinguished. Another easy victory for Irina. There is no concession here at all. It feels so strange. Moreover, she is a little strange when she tries her own dish. Winning without feeling happy. Irina is starting to not keep up with her tongue anymore. Let's go to Megumi's match. At this moment, the judges are all praising. Why can this cheap meat be processed to be so fragrant and eye-catching? The dish that Asahi made deserves to be served in 5-star restaurants. He's still being modest. He just took one bite and wanted to show off to the whole world. The more he ate, the more he craved it. I don't know how he can elevate this meat. That's the secret of the claw knife. He skillfully processed each small piece of meat. Usually, mainstream chefs have to prepare for 2 months for this process, but Asahi can shorten it to just the cooking time. Not forgetting to brag about his talent for being able to make a more delicious dish than Aldini and Soma's yesterday without breaking a sweat. Whatever successful people say is right, so we have to put up with it. Now it's Megumi's dish's turn. It looks no less elegant than in a luxurious restaurant, and the flavor is also very elegant. At first, it was difficult for the judges to evaluate these two dishes. Megumi also brought this cheap meat to its peak, but in the end, it couldn't compare to Asahi. With 2 skills from 2 different chefs, he creates many higher-end versions, which can be said to be infinite. Megumi had to admit defeat with regret. The audience all had to acknowledge Asahi's talent and thought that he would be the champion of this competition. Of course, it's not just boasting without real ability. Asahi told Mana that he was fully capable of creating unique dishes that would satisfy her stubborn tongue, but he wanted to have an additional right after winning this competition. It was not outside of Mana's predictions, as she already knew that this guy was pursuing her daughter, and he must want to ask for Irina's hand in marriage. I don't know what his intentions are. After that match, Asahi and Irina had a private conversation. He kept putting pressure on her and advised her to surrender. Only by coming to his side would she be happy, because Irina's tongue was starting to show signs of turning against her. Hearing these things, Soma couldn't remain silent anymore. He said that he was the winner of this competition and no one else, even the leader of Noir with so many top skills, couldn't beat the main character. It seems that Soma knows his position and power very well. Meanwhile, Megumi only thought that if Asahi won, the 2 of them would get married. She said that she had a shokyuchi with Asahi and lost, but the deal had been changed. Megumi didn't need to stop playing with Irina. But she had to congratulate the happiness of this wedding. This is really a life shock for a second-year girl. But Irina wasn't worried about that. What she was struggling with in her heart was doubting her own strength and even hoping that Soma would lose to some extent. After all, no matter how hard she tried, her god's tongue couldn't satisfy her mother's god's tongue, but with Asahi's top copying skills, it was different. He could constantly make unique dishes to satisfy the 2 cursed tongues of her family. Sooner or later, Irina would have the same situation as Mana now. But Soma will fight him before fighting her, so he won't be weak and give in like Irina now. If she fought with him, she would definitely let him win. Because even if Irina wins, she can't improve her mother's current situation, only Asahi can do that. Hearing her complain until now is enough. Soma lost his patience and said that it had nothing to do with him. According to his plan, Soma will defeat both Asahi and Irina to win the victory. After saying that, he went home to rest for the match tomorrow. Even though he said those heartless words, he was still very worried about his friend. What kind of person is that? Sometimes strong, sometimes weak. He only found it annoying to possess that harmful tongue, and he would be the one to relieve that. The next day, the final round of the competition continued. Through the spectacular matches, both sides of the arena were ablaze with the enthusiasm of the super chefs. Everyone tried their best to win. The chefs of Noir were still as strange as ever, but the dishes were impossible to criticize. But Soma still kept defeating those dark chefs. What kind of dish looks like the seed that I used to soak when I was young? Soma's group now only has 2 people, but the fighting spirit is only left with 1. Both Irina and Asahi are winning consecutively, which is not difficult to guess as everything is going according to plan. Join me in seeing what tricks these three will have that make us guess wrong. In the next round, Soma will fight with Asahi before fighting with Irina and winning. Maybe he's preparing what's needed for this match. But the truth is that he's not doing anything. He wishes his dad was here to practice a little more, but maybe it's not necessary because the two of them have fought each other more than 500 times since they were young. Maybe that number is enough, no need to practice any more matches. Before their match took place, Irina had won all the opponents on the other side of the field to advance to the final match, but this made her look more fearful than ever. Now is the match between two rivals. One side is the son, and the other is the only disciple of Saiba. If it's me, I will of course support my son. The audience seems to be leaning towards Asahi as they keep shouting his name in the night. It must be because he possesses great skills and shows them off very well, while Soma is a mainstream chef. He can only do his best. Soma doesn't need many words with him. He says that even if he wins, he can't make Irina happy. Asahi took out Saiba's knife and said that Soma would never surpass this perfect version. But for him, this is also an opportunity for him to defeat his father. To encourage this fighting spirit, Mana decided to create a special theme for the two of them. That is to combine the culinary quintessence of the world into one dish, creating true beauty right here. It can be understood that the two need to combine the best dishes from 5 different regions, from the spicy dishes of China to the dishes in the West. I don't understand what the crazy theme is anymore. Each dish has a different way of processing and cooking. Cooking 5 dishes at the same time is already difficult, not to mention combining them into one dish. The match will last 3 hours from now on. While Soma was still thinking about what to cook, Asahi took the lead. He has all kinds of knives and skills needed for all kinds of dishes, if not to say that he has too many. In an instant, he had finished slicing all the onions and vegetables to make the broth, then quickly used another knife to cook a dish from India. The impossible is happening right before the eyes of the audience, making them exclaim in admiration. Asahi has turned into the national husband and is simultaneously steaming a pot with cakes from China. Combining this dish with another by cooking with special and unique knives is more like it. Although I hate it so much, everyone has to acknowledge his talent. I don't know if he recharged VIP or turned on hacks. But he uses those knives even more skillfully than their owners, even Aishi's knife is used perfectly. In no match have we witnessed so many ways of processing. It's extremely elaborate and ostentatious because he's just forcing others to compete and seizing their tools. After all, he's still alone on this path. But Soma is different. He has practiced and competed a lot, communicated and learned from countless opponents, so for him, experience is paramount. So even if Asahi possesses a lot of unique knives, in fact, the two are still walking side by side. Soma's job now is to break through and surpass him. Behind him, there are still many close friends who are trusting and cheering him on. Soma knows what he should cook to win and satisfy those two tongues. The battle is now really beginning. Let's see who will get everything after this battle. Gazing and contemplating for a while, Soma finally decided on the dish he wanted to cook, not one dish but 5 dishes. Instead of preparing ingredients from each place, he would cook them completely. After having enough 5 of the best dishes in the world, he would mix them together to make a complete dish. This is almost impossible because each dish has different characteristics and may not be delicious to eat, let alone combine. This is a very risky move, but that's how Soma is. If he doesn't overcome this challenge, how can he cook a dish that satisfies Mana? No one dares to confidently say that they can make so many dishes in such a short time, but if he succeeds, Soma will shock the world with this dish. He starts working right away, both French and Italian sauces with many Chinese ingredients. Soma is really cooking 5 dishes at the same time right on the field, and I haven't seen this guy joking around. He doesn't forget to open with the flavor of India to create a highlight. This will probably be a new dish that will be added to the menu of Soma's restaurant later. Even though he is tired, Soma is still moving forward, not allowed to be slow or neglectful for a second. Otherwise, everything will be ruined, and he won't have time. To achieve this speed, he practiced very hard after challenging matches, not going to steal like someone else. It's so fast that people see many Somas cooking together. The important thing is that he always keeps a smile on his face no matter what the moment is. Upstairs, Irina is still watching his match. She doesn't know whether she should cheer for him to win or not. Her grandfather always believes in young talents who are burning with their youth. There is another surprise that he secretly asked the 2 granddaughters to do, which is to fly to the United States to bring this wandering father back. He seems less aggressive than the last time we met. Because his ultimate goal is to save his wife and children, he goes to learn all over the world to cook for his wife and children, but in the end, he still can't do anything, and today he has to be here to witness that miracle happen. Asahi's dish was finished first and brought up. At this point, who wins and who loses has been determined, but it's also very close as Soma also just finished cooking when the time ran out, making him extremely tired. This time, both of them were sweating, but of course, Soma was more tired because his dish was so elaborate. For the first time, there was a match where the judges appeared after the exam. They are leading assessment experts with many years of experience, only knowing how to eat and talk, not knowing how to cook anything. I've seen these two old women admire Asahi's handsomeness, so there may be favoritism here. The three of them have eaten Soma's dishes too many times, but for Asahi, this is the first time that his plate of food naturally radiates a rich aroma. Even though it's still covered, it's too attractive to attract attention. The three couldn't resist anymore and had to try Asahi's dish first. Just smelling it was irresistible. When it was opened, it was a surprise that it was an extremely beautiful cake, and the arrangement was also very artistic. The 5 best dishes in the world are all gathered in this cake. How beautiful it is doesn't matter, what matters is that it's delicious. Asahi is confident that this is the most delicious dish he can currently make, so Mana will definitely like it. She also believes and tries a meal to see how it is, hoping that it's delicious enough for her not to feel nauseous like other mediocre dishes. The crust of the cake is broken easily and delicately. Inside the filling, there are many ingredients from different lands, which are essentially each other's opposites. But in this cake, they are very harmonious and make each other more delicious, which couldn't be more subtle. Everyone thinks that this is the most suitable dish for the theme this time. In addition, the crust of the cake is made with Aishi's technique, so it's even more perfect. In general, there are so many top techniques put into this that it's impossible to criticize this cake. The theme is something I've never heard of that does all the cooking show for your viewing satisfaction, and I don't care about that much. What's more, there is still something that is the highlight of this unique cake. What kind of cake that can be stretched as long as cheese is that? A mochi cake? No, it's Turkish ice cream. It must be admitted that Asahi combines so skillfully that the cake is so delicious that it is irresistible. Those who have tasted it must explode with this top flavor. Exploding in the literal sense, because around the arena, loud noises gradually and constantly started coming out, and everyone's clothes were flying all over this arena. This is the blessing effect from a certain family. Mana must have tasted this dish and recognized that it was very delicious. Even the elders have never witnessed a wave of blessings so majestic. It's probably because this dish is too delicious. Can Soma win this cake? Currently, the judges are too high and don't want to eat anything else. But their job is to assess fairly, so even if they don't want to, they have to continue eating. Next is Soma's dish. Unexpectedly, in contrast to the subtlety of the image and the aroma of Asahi's cake, Soma made a fried rice that looks like it couldn't be more messy. It's already opened, but I still don't smell anything fragrant. Everyone is completely shocked by this dish of Soma, but he always surprises like that. It looks no different from mixed fried rice with all 5 dishes mixed together, but Asahi seems to have realized that there is something wrong with this fried rice. The judges at this time, even when fed into their mouths, didn't want to eat it, but after just one small spoonful of rice, they suddenly became a rice discharging machine, eating like they had never eaten like this before. If it wasn't delicious, it wouldn't have had such an expression. All the viewers had a complete shock. At this time, they began to analyze what the hell that fried rice had that made it so delicious. There is nothing special, it's just that people's techniques are high. It looks like fried rice, but it's not. Soma didn't use any oil at all. He processed it in a very elaborate way, making each grain of rice special. Not only that, the 5 dishes were also mixed skillfully, not randomly mixed like pig feed. You must understand the ingredients and know what you are doing to be able to combine like that. This fried rice of Soma really makes the judges explode with flavor once again. They compare this match to a real battlefield. Asahi is like a knight, and Soma is like a demon king with countless techniques combined to dominate the entire universe. Comparing like this, you know who wins and who loses. Now it's Mana's turn to try this dish of his and evaluate how it is. Having eaten Asahi's dish, even if she feels nauseous, she must eat the opponent's dish as well. Mana had prepared a bucket so that she could vomit directly on the spot, but this fried rice was so delicious that it was unbelievable. Mana discovered more than the other judges. Even though this fried rice uses a lot of spices, even strong smells, but I don't understand why when I smell it again, I don't smell anything at all. The secret lies in the technique that Soma uses, continuing to take inspiration from the egg that we often see. On the outside, it's an ordinary shell, but when you eat it, it will break, and at that time, what is most quintessence will spill out and seep all over the mouth. The only difference is that this time it's not a big lump like the previous times, but I don't know how Soma makes each grain of rice into a small egg like that. The judges heard this and were also shocked, not believing that these tiny grains of rice were created manually by human hands. Inside it, there is a small, pretty egg roll, but when it breaks, it's impossible to criticize. This level has reached a new level. Now it's the turn of the person who cooked this dish to speak. Soma is starting to talk about principles now, but whatever successful people say becomes a lesson. He said that he learned this odorless fried rice from his mother. This is her favorite dish and also the first dish Soma learned to cook. Although his mother always cooked badly every time, Soma learned more things. He said that Asahi has tasted many flavors, so he can cook delicious food, but for sure, he has never tasted the flavor of failure. But failure is the mother of success, so Soma got this unique fried rice. It sounds very good, but it's really delicious, brothers. Asahi arrogantly thinks that he has never known what failure smells like. A person with talent like him is always at the top and even won against his teacher, but at this moment, throughout the arena, the explosion sound once again came out. It seems that this time it's bigger and wider than the previous time. Will Soma or Asahi be the winner? I ask for fun, but who doesn't know the answer? Even though Asahi's pastry was delicious and refined, reaching the pinnacle of the 5 flavors, the dish that created a sensation and stood at the summit of culinary arts was Soma's fried rice. He wasn't just weathering the storm, he was the storm itself, completely in control of the game. The blessings effect was even more powerful than before. People's clothes were not just flying off their bodies, but being torn to shreds. Seeing this scene, I'm speechless. It's so vulgar and crude, but I love it. Azumi said this was no ordinary blessing wave, this was the phenomenon of explosion recorded in the ancestors' books, occurring once in a millennium. This phenomenon is an evolution of the blessing. So it's called the holy blessing. The more I hear, the more nonsense it sounds. I don't see how it relates to anything. Even those sitting far away like Megumi's group were affected. The fact that it spread this far is enough to understand the outcome of this match. Asahi refused to accept this truth. He was indeed talented, but that was the talent of stealing others' copyrights. Beneath that shell, the inside was completely empty. Asahi didn't have his own unique flavor. That's why he lost to Soma, who always creates his own unique qualities that no one can match. It was forged from experience through battles from the past. Soma constantly challenged talented people without regard for his own image. And then he reached the level he is at today. Now it's time for the 3 judges, who are enjoying it to the extreme, to announce the results. As suspenseful as it is, everyone knows the outcome. Another easy victory for Soma. This is unbelievable. Anyone would have thought they had no chance to win against Asahi, yet Soma did it so convincingly. Everyone is happy for his victory, except for some who aren't too happy, including Irina. More accurately, she's shocked by the unimaginable result. Asahi also had to accept this result. He wanted to ask Soma to return the knife to Saiba, but he had won and deserved it. So, if you want to return it, do it yourself. By the way, Soma asked what his purpose was if he married Irina. It turns out he still has the mind of a child. Saiba once told Asahi that he had lost his passion for cooking until he met his wife. Cooking for others will make our dishes more soulful and delicious. Therefore, Asahi aimed straight for the one who possesses the god tongue, because his purpose was to cook better, not cook for others, completely going against what his teacher wanted to impart. That's due to fate, you can't plan that in advance. Perhaps from now on, Asahi will focus on finding his own unique flavor rather than relying on others to make his dishes perfect. Coming outside, he met Saiba again, the teacher from the past, who is also like his father. After some brain-boosting advice, Asahi decided to leave Noir and roam the world to find his own identity. Who knows, he might find someone he truly wants to dedicate his talent to. Some loyal subordinates also vowed to follow him. They were saved by him rather than joining Noir from the start. Everyone is congratulating Soma on his victory. Even Mana has acknowledged him, so it won't be long before he becomes the winner. But Mana also said that this isn't the flavor she wants yet. Although it's delicious. Damn, how can she demand so much? Tomorrow will be the final match between Soma and Irina. Who will be the winner of this competition? We just need to wait and see who brings their dish up first to know. But Irina doesn't even bother to congratulate or say a word to Soma. I hate girls like this the most. If you don't want to meet, just avoid it. Why intentionally walk past and be annoying? Later, this married couple finally had a chance to reunite. After many years of separation, the wife left home due to depression with her tongue, while the husband also left to find the most delicious food to save both his wife and daughter. In the end, these two failed people returned to each other. Let's talk a bit about Azumi's past. Because it's somewhat related to the current Asahi. Back in the day, when Saiba left, Azumi almost lost his direction, unable to find interest or passion in cooking, even though it was still very delicious. But then one day, someone criticized his cooking, and that was Mana. She said that the flavor was empty, without any vitality, and that just looking at the chef was enough to understand he was gloomy. From then on, Azumi bitterly vowed to make her praise his food as delicious, and that's how it started. Over time, Azumi regained his inspiration for cooking when he had someone he was willing to dedicate all his talent to. But that talent couldn't keep up with the tongue, and Mana became increasingly bored with her daily meals. They both knew that sooner or later Irina would have to endure the same suffering as Mana. That's why she chose to leave to find a way to save the two of them. And why do I say it's related to Asahi? Because Saiba felt that the two were very similar, at least they were both gloomy, and Mana, when she ate the pastry earlier, had the same feeling as the first time she ate Azumi's food. He also needs someone to take care of him and guide him during this time. But why is it Azumi? If I'm not mistaken, he's the illegitimate child of this guy from who knows when. The movie is really a fantasy. At this moment, Irina is standing alone and thinking about tomorrow. She had intended to hand over everything and trust Asahi. But in the end, Soma was the one who won, but for some reason, she doesn't quite trust her friend. Since she was little, she had often cooked for her mother. And although she felt it was delicious, Mana was different. Her mother only praised it as cute and said she liked it, but never praised it as delicious. From that time on, she always lacked confidence and didn't dare to cook for her mother. But anyway, Irina can't hand it over to Soma. In the match tomorrow, she must win. Finally, the final showdown has arrived. The two young friends, who were once very close, are now extremely tense, or at least one of them is tense. But no one knows that all of this is part of Irina's grandfather's plan, a plan to cultivate a generation of geniuses to save his family's unhappiness. In this match, Mana will be the direct judge, scoring whose dish is more delicious. I wonder if there will be any mother-daughter bias here. The theme this time is a dish that has never appeared in the world. It's even harder than the 5 flavors from yesterday. Soma is thinking about what to mix together this time, while Irina has already started preparing the ingredients. But it's not that she has thought of her new dish, she's just acting on her instincts. We can call it improvising, a spiritual player. Speaking of Irina's grandfather's genius generation plan, he implemented it since Mana left home. He didn't want his granddaughter to have to endure that situation as well, so he researched ancient books day and night, but the ancestors didn't leave anything to help their descendants escape this nonsensical tongue. Finally, he came up with a plan. He would let Irina study at Tatsuki Academy and then go find all the other talented children for the school, with the goal of them becoming obstacles for Irina, so that she would try to overcome them to reach the pinnacle of the culinary world. That way, she could cook to satisfy herself and her mother. An unacceptable plan. Turns out that after 4 seasons of the film, all of this was the plan of this old man, exploiting everyone for his daughter and granddaughter. Praiseworthy or blameworthy, it doesn't matter, as long as the goal is achieved. But will Irina achieve what her grandfather expects, when her mind is now in the clouds, not focusing on her dish at all? Her hands are cooking out of habit, but she's now very panicked, doubting her own abilities in future. She's bound to fall into despair, a future even darker than the life of Sister Dao, a tragic character in Vietnamese literature. At this moment, Soma confidently scoops a spoonful of broth to taste. As expected, it's very bland, not like the usual Irina. If that's the case, he'll cook this dish to awaken her. Soma seemed to know what he should cook, but the theme was a dish that had never appeared in the world before. Could it be that easy? It seemed that this competition wasn't that important. The main thing was for Irina to overcome herself and save both her and her mother. Soma didn't want to see Irina in such a miserable state, he wanted her to return to the beautiful days, to become the arrogant young lady who always criticized others, and to do that, he made this dish specifically for Irina. Everyone was nervously anticipating Soma, but I was too disappointed in this young man. Finishing first meant losing. There was no need to compete anymore. No matter how delicious it was, fate was something that couldn't be changed. Next up was Soma's dish, again something related to chicken eggs. This guy really likes eggs from start to finish. He made another bowl for Irina as well. In fact, this was the dish she had cooked in the previous exam. It was what had made Soma so angry because it was so delicious. Now he wanted her to eat it and remember that time, then return to being herself. I won't say much more about this dish, because that's all there is to it. It's delicious, but I don't know why it's delicious. Analyzing dishes I've never eaten is really difficult. After trying a bite, Mana felt the difference. She saw that Soma wasn't like the others. He could cook so well because he had someone to dedicate his talent to. And that was Irina, unlike Azumi, who, although he loved his wife and children very much, never cooked a dish that was 100% delicious. Soma, on the other hand, seemed to have no limits. Irina remembered the feelings from before, having overcome countless difficulties together, so this time was just one of them. She ate the bowl of rice with tears in her eyes, secretly thanking Soma for helping her regain her spirit. The person she wanted to cook for the most right now was Mana, the mother who had never praised her cooking, making her feel inferior and afraid every time she did it. But now it was over. Now Irina would cook with all her might to create the most delicious dish in the world to serve her mother. But before that, let's see the new effect of this mother-daughter reunion. A sound was coming from the two of them. It wasn't like the previous times. What other strange effect was this? The sound this time seemed gentler and more airy than before. It didn't make people's clothes fly off, but it gave them a feeling of nakedness that couldn't be more euphoric. Was it a new level of the holy blessing? I don't know what to say about these names that sound so stupid. Even just watching TV was affected, so it's easy to understand. This was a dish so exquisite that through the sound, you could feel what the eater felt, like being in heaven, and the eater was beyond ecstatic, all the way to the roof in the literal sense, guys, because it exploded like this. Whatever nonsense scene had just appeared before our eyes. Irina was still troubled and didn't recognize Soma's dish. On the contrary, she said it was very bad and that she would cook a dish 100 million times better. Finally, Irina had returned to being the arrogant young lady she was before. That was also Soma's purpose in making this dish. He didn't care much about Mana's feelings or these two competitions. Mana also felt that this boy was the one who had saved Irina from the negative things. Now she was cooking for others, so her dish would be very different from before, above all, the joy of cooking and putting all her heart into it. Everyone felt happy seeing Irina's appearance now. It seemed that her grandfather's plan had succeeded as expected. The next day, they held a celebration at the Polar Star dormitory. Soma had won, but it was a victory in the hearts of the fans and in Irina's heart as well, but she still took his button, as I had predicted. Soma was still upset from yesterday. He thought he needed to practice more to open a restaurant, even though with his current abilities, it would be difficult for anyone to match him. Even so, once he had decided, no one could stop him. But today, Irina wasn't there. She was busy at home, reuniting with her family. Today was the day her parents both returned to each other after many years of being apart. The group planned to go to Irina's house to congratulate her, even trying to persuade Soma to come along, but he had left some time ago without anyone noticing, leaving only a small note with scribbled words. Now, let's return to this unstable family. They hadn't been reunited for long when Azumi announced another shocking matter. He realized that Asahi was his illegitimate son from long ago. No wonder they were similar, from their gloomy looks to their dirty tricks. Moreover, they even thought alike when Saiba left. That's why, as soon as Asahi didn't know what to do next, he was welcomed by Irina's family. It's a good thing he's an illegitimate son before marrying, or this father would have been beaten badly. What a terrible person. Overall, this family is quite stable now, with no one wandering outside anymore. Or is there? There's still a future son-in-law, isn't there? Without saying a word, he just left, not knowing when he'll return. Well, it's half a year later, and Soma returned, much more confident than before. Now he was ready to open his own store, and the menu would definitely be much more diverse than before. Oh, but he's still a student at Tatsuki, isn't he? It's not summer vacation. So why did he disappear on his own like that? It seemed that the other students were carrying the burden of the Elite 10 duties and his studies. He wasn't there, but he was still able to pass. Only Soma could do that. But more importantly, everyone was now present. Soma wanted his friends to be the first customers at his restaurant. The video ends here. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave your comments to support the channel. New anime series will be uploaded regularly on 21st Century Anime. Thank you.